Okay, so two GADA watches from my favorite micro brand, two brand new watches that we've not checked out on the channel. Now, one of them is on the dressier side, right? And then the other one is a bit more tactical, a little bit more stealthy. There is a big difference between these two watches, even though they're both part of the exact same range. First of all, quick wristwatch check. I'm wearing my Beaucroft Element. This is the sunset orange version, in my opinion, one of the best looking orange dials. Just look how dynamic it is. And this, in my opinion, is one of the best affordable GADA watches. So we'll save the more tactical one for second. First of all, we'll check out the one that's a bit more versatile, a bit more dressy. All Beaucroft watches come in this lovely little watch roll. There is a little bit too much going on here with all these flaps, I won't lie. However, the leather quality is really nice, and you can tell these aren't cheaply made, so it's always nice to get, some good packaging. So allow me to introduce you to the brand spanking new Beaucroft Element Temper Red. Now, admittedly, I have played a little bit of a trick on you here because I am reviewing two new versions of the Beaucroft Element, which is my watch. First thing, of course, you've got to do when you're reviewing a watch on camera is set those hands to 10 past 10 for the aesthetic. So let's do that first. Just look at it. So this is a very strange tone of red, right? When I first saw this in person, I thought it was more of a burgundy or a maroon. It's a very unusual color. It's certainly not your quintessential red dial, but that's why I like it so much. So the Element is Beaucroft's answer to a GADA watch. This is a serious everyday watch. It's built for everyday life. It's actually built for way more than everyday life. This thing is spec'd out to the nine. Beaucroft have put everything into this to make sure that it can withstand whatever you can throw at it. But of course, Beaucroft is an elegant watch brand, right? So even though these watches are truly capable, they still have that contemporary yet sophisticated design. So this watch comes with an entire 316L stainless steel construction, and every single part of the watch is solid. So we do indeed have solid end links with quick release spring bars. The bracelet links are also completely solid, adjusted by screwed pins. We then have a milled scissor clasp that actually features some really nice perlage finishing. I love this feature on the Element because it's something that you can only really appreciate, right? Throughout the day, nobody knows that this watch has some perlage on the clasp, but then you open it up to take it off and you can appreciate it. And one very distinctive feature that separates Beaucroft from a lot of other watch brands is actually the case silhouette. From the front, it's nothing unusual, right? It's sort of your typical circular everyday watch. However, it's when you turn this watch on its side that it reveals sort of the little trick up its sleeve. So this watch features a bridged case side. This was inspired by the bridge over the River Cam in Cambridge. What that means is, well, first of all, it makes the case a lot more interesting, but also when wearing the watch, it makes it look a lot slimmer on the wrist. Now, there's actually three different finishing techniques that have been applied to the Element. There's a mixture of brushing and polishing on the bezel, there's a mixture of brushing and polishing on the case, and there's also a sandblasted section on the underside of that bridged case side. The case back is screwed down and features this sort of lovely rainbow-esque pattern on it. Also, the sign crown does screw down to the case, giving this watch 200 meters of water resistance, double dome sapphire crystal, anti-reflective treatment. And when I talked about the stainless steel, well, it actually features a hardness coating, which should mean you can go about everyday life with this watch without it picking up too many scratches. It basically just preserves the longevity of the steel that little bit longer. In terms of dimensions, it's coming in with a 39.5mm case diameter. Lug to lug on the Element is 46.5mm, so nice and compact. And case thickness, including that dome sapphire, is exactly 12mm. This is a watch that I know very well, so I can speak from experience here. It wears beautifully, at least on my 6.5-inch wrist. Now, this watch is on the heavier side, but this bracelet does hold the head of the watch really well. And Beaucroft have fitted this piece with quite a large clasp, which does offer a lot of balance with the head of the watch. And one thing Beaucroft are very proud of, and they absolutely should be too, is actually the bracelet. Tapers from 20 to 16, so you get that elegant look on the wrist, but also the bracelet links fully articulate, and that means on the wrist it conforms to all the lumps and bumps very nicely. It basically fits the wrist like a glove. But let's get to the star of the show. It's this dial. So Beaucroft call this their Temper Red. And to be honest with you, if this model was available when I bought my Sunset Orange, I wouldn't be wearing an orange, I would be wearing this. This for me is the perfect color for the Element, because the Element is quite a sporty watch, right? So when I bought mine, I really leaned into that sporty aesthetic. I got a nice bright colorful dial. However, with this Temper Red dial, it sort of dresses the watch up quite a lot, which for me makes the watch way more versatile. For example, you just couldn't wear this one as a dress watch. It's just way too bright. bright, it's a little bit too flashy. It's the perfect summer watch because of those reasons. However, with the new Temper Red, I think if you put this on a leather strap, you could absolutely get away with it as a dress watch. I'm a big fan of red dials. I like this tone of red they've chosen. It's a little bit different and quintessential Beaucroft. Now though, let's get onto something that isn't quintessential Beaucroft. In fact, this is so unexpected from Beaucroft because it is so removed from anything they've ever done before. So this is the Beaucroft Element Rebel. Now, first of all, Rebel is one of the coolest model names that I've ever heard, and the main thing is it really works with the watch in the brand. Beaucroft make very elegant, sophisticated watches. This, a tactical, almost tool watch, is such a departure from that. However, it somehow works. So the Rebel is the stealthy, tactical version of the Element. It's got the exact same case construction, it's got the exact same water resistance, exact same crystal. Even the case back design features that beautiful rainbow pattern. However, instead of the bracelet, you get this FKM black rubber strap, and one thing I love, you get a spring-loaded deployant buckle. All you've got to do with this is just pull it open, there's no buttons, and it is so satisfying to open and close. You adjust this strap by basically cutting it to size, and you do also get some micro adjustment in there. I think you get one hole on each side, so you will be able to find a good fit with this strap, don't worry. All Element models are fitted with a Miyota 9039, which is a high beat Japanese movement, so you get 8 ticks per second. I love the Miyota 9000 series, and it allows watches, even though this is 12mm, remember you've got a dome sapphire and you've got 200 meters, 12mm is still pretty impressive. But of course, what makes this particular model so different than the rest of the Element range is the fact that it's completely black. So Beaucroft have coated the Element in a black paint, and this is actually done in the UK. We then have a completely blacked out dial. The indexes are still white, so you still get decent legibility here. And what Beaucroft have done, just to add a little splash of personality, and I really like this feature, is they've added an aqua seconds hand that does contrast so well with that dial. In fact, when you're looking at the watch, it's hard not to see that seconds hand ticking away. And let's be honest, the reason why we love mechanical watches is for that nice smooth sweep. So them highlighting the seconds hand for me was a really good decision. Now, in terms of price, the Temper Red comes in at £649, which is the exact same amount that I paid for my Sunset Orange, though they've not bumped up the price for this new model. It is simply a new dial option for the brilliant Element range. In terms of the Rebel, this one is a little bit more expensive. This one comes in at £675. I'm guessing that's because they've got this coating done in the UK. I'm guessing that's very expensive to do. Also, even though there isn't a bracelet included, this rubber strap is very high quality. Also, the spring-loaded clasp is absolutely brilliant. And what are the things that I don't like about the Element? Well, truth be told, there's very few because, well, I liked it that much, I spent my money on one. As mentioned, the clasp is a little bit chunky. Now, that does offer balance with the head of the watch, but I still think it's quite a chunky, quite a long clasp. Because this is a domed crystal outside in full light, it can pick up a lot of reflections. Compared to my other sapphire crystals, this is on the more reflective side. I don't think that's because of a lack of AR. I actually think it's because these dials have so much detail and because the crystal is one whole dome. But genuinely, those are the only two things that I don't like about the Element. The only two things, and I'm speaking from experience because I've worn my Element Sunset Orange probably about 50 times now. You'll find a link to the Beaucroft website below if you want to check out this watch in more detail. Beaucroft is a British micro brand that assemble their watches in the UK. As mentioned, they're my favourite micro brand, my favourite British brand, and I think they make some of the best looking watches on the planet.